This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and I am Ashma Uba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. On 24th April in 1970, the Gambia attained republic status from Great Britain. 2 Senegalese nationals are in police custody after their boat was intercepted in Brufut on Saturday with 72 bundles of suspected cannabis. On the sidelines of a major international forum in Shanghai, China, Gambia's Foreign Affairs Minister had a bilateral meeting with his counterpart, China's Foreign Minister. In international news, as fighting continues in Sudan amidst truce to mark Eid al-Fitr, several countries are evacuating its citizens due to continuous tensions. In sports news, the Gambia has been drawn in Group F of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina, following Friday's ceremony at the FIFA headquarters in Zurich. Those were in headlines. Now the news in detail. On this day in 1970, the Gambia attained a republic status. Until then, the country was a constitutional monarchy within the Commonwealth, with the Queen of Great Britain as head of state and Dawda Jawara as prime minister and head of government. More in this report by Mamadou Mbodj.
After a failed referendum just after independence in November 1965, the Jawara government tried again in 1970 and this time got the approval of the people for the Gambia to become a republic. Prime Minister Dawda Jawara became President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. By then, he had been knighted by the Queen in 1966. To mark the political transition, Gambian money came into use. One Gambian penny depicted President Jawara at State House. The 1 shilling coin depicted the president, and the higher denomination of 1.6 shillings had the president and the national flag. The change of status had not only symbolic significance, but also practical, tangible benefits in the exercise of political power. Earlier, I spoke on the phone to the historian Hausum Sise, who is the Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, on the significance of the day.
We are on our own, not taking, or not seeking for endorsements, or without any form of colonial interference, in our statehood. That really, came about. So if you like, full sovereignty, started, with Republic Day on 24th April 1970. From 1965 to April 7 to 24th April 1970, so many things. The Prime Minister, had to really get the endorsement of the Governor General, who represented the Queen. For example, things like, cabinet reshuffles. If you come to the archives, we'll show you, Salada will, send a note to the Governor General that I want to reshuffle my cabinet on the 10th of March. Here is the new lineup. And Safari Man, will diligently say, well, if it is okay, please, proceed. But with Republic, Sarara became an executive president, and he didn't have to really take permission, from anybody to reshuffle his cabinet. I mentioned about receiving of, foreign ambassadors. When we became a republic, we also, went, went ahead, to have our own currency, the Dalasi and Butut, which is really a great symbol of our nationhood and sovereignty.
Hausum Sise tells us why the first referendum on whether to go republic just after independence in 1965 failed to get the public support.
Well, it was politicized. In November 65 referendum was highly politicized. Because, after we attained independence, even the leaders, Sadauda, Sif, Diva, and all the others found it very difficult to explain meaning of independence to the farmers, in the villages. Because the farmers will tell them, well, you are independent, but the Queen is still represented, in some ways, in the mindset of many people, where was the independence? Of course, officially, we were independent. That's what I'm talking about. Officially, we were independent on 18 February 1965. But in the minds of, many ordinary people, we were independent, yes. But why was a Governor General still here? Why? Did we still have, the Queen birthday or not still celebrated? Why was the Queen, still giving, knighthoods, and OBEs and MBEs, to Gambians? You see, So in that regard, even the VP ministers found it very, very difficult to convince, people in the villages, those who didn't, read government or political science to know that, there's a difference between being a republic and being, an independent country.
Even today, many ask why we bother commemorating these days, such as Republic Day and Independence, when the promises these dates exemplified had long been betrayed. But not to Hausum Ceesay.
My subjective view is that Republic is doing very well. Number one, we are, at peace, with ourselves. That we have to accept. That's very, very important. The diversity we have is basically, the diversity that you expect in any functioning multi-party democratic system. Number two, we are at peace with our neighbors. That's very, very important. Good neighborliness has been really one of the great assets of this country. From the First Republic. Sadada's motto was friendship. With the world. With the communist world. With the capitalist world. With the Arab world. And number three, at independence, nobody gave this country a chance to survive. And now we are here, 58 years after independence, 53 years after republic. We have a road network. We have, like universities. Hospitals. It is easy to, take these things for granted. But if you ask anybody in their 70s and 80s, they will tell you these are the things that the generation did not have. Entire generations, missed out, on these things. And finally, we have been able to maintain the Gambian brand in our regular multi-party democratic elections.
Happy Republic Day to everyone. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbodj.
Now, 2 Senegalese nationals are in police custody after their boat was intercepted in Brufut by the Police Intervention Unit. The duo, who are believed to have been on transit, were arrested on Saturday with 72 bundles of suspected cannabis. We hear more in this report by Ansumana Isonyasi.
These 3 bags contain 72 big bundles of suspected cannabis, along with these 4 20-liter gallons of diesel and this Yamaha boat engine. They were seized by police after the 2 suspects were arrested. ASP Lamin Sambu, officer commanding the Police Intervention Unit's camp in Brufut, explains how his officers who were on patrol along the beach came across the duo and arrested them because of their suspicious behavior, leading to the discovery of the suspected drugs.
They were having this canoe driving, but unfortunately the canoe has a problem. At the end of the day, they have to anchor at the beach side. So that's this time one of the PC by Habibu Juf, he came across with them, he caught them, and he called reinforcement from the base. So one SI Bojang was on the patrol team. They rushed to the beach side and they arrested them. And I was called by SI Bojang that there are suspected canoe that are peddling these drugs. So I also rushed there with Inspector Jalaman Jame. So they were arrested and brought them to PIU base.
Police PRO Cadet ASP Bintanjai says the 2 suspects, who are Senegalese nationals aged 38 and 40, will be handed over to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency for further investigation, and calls on members of the public to support the police in their drive to ensuring a crime-free Gambia by being law-abiding, vigilant and reporting all suspected criminals.
We want to ensure zero crime in the Gambia, Brufut in particular. As a result, they embark on daily foot and vehicle patrols. However, the police cannot be everywhere at the same time, the same place, and ensure that crime is combated 100%. So we urge the general public to come forward and be forthcoming with information timely so that we're able to fight the crime together. So these are 3 bags of suspected cannabis of 72 pieces, 4 gallons of fuel, and a Yamaha canoe engine. The drugs will be handed over to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, so we leave that to them to determine the weight of the drugs and how authentic the substances are. However, we also urge all and sundry to desist from anything that is illegal, and also not just to desist, but to also expose those that are involved in these illegal activities. We commend the Brufut PIU and the entire GPF command for the timely intervention.
Cannabis is linked to most drug-related crimes committed in the Gambia. This explains why there are regular calls for collective action and public support by the police and the drug law enforcement agency to end its use and trafficking in the Gambia. Ansmane Sonyasi for QTV News.
Now, on the sidelines of a major international forum in Shanghai, China, Gambia's Foreign Affairs Minister had a bilateral meeting with his counterpart, China's Foreign Minister. As a sign of deepening bilateral cooperation between the two countries, China has pledged support for the Gambia, including training for 300 Gambians this year, support for agricultural development and energy. QTV's Mamadou Lamin Choi spoke to the Gambia's Foreign Affairs Minister, and this is his report.
In a demonstration of their country's strong diplomatic ties, China and the Gambia's foreign ministers met in Shanghai at this year's Landing Forum on Chinese Modernization and the World. The two ministers had a face-to-face bilateral talk to discuss their countries' relations and development cooperation. The Gambia's foreign minister, Dr. Mamadou Tangara, spoke to us about the meeting with his Chinese counterpart.
Well, we already have a very strong cooperation. And he reiterated the fact to take it to another height, another level, and to continue the consultation. And they are committed to training over 300 Gambians this year, expanding the cooperation in the agriculture sector, energy sector, and in the very near future they will send a team to help us deal with some of our energy problems in the greater Banjul area.
The training will cover student scholarships, government officials, police personnel, National Assembly members, teachers, and academic professors. Over the years, under the leadership of President Xi Jinping, China has placed itself as a global leader in addressing pressing challenges facing the world. In that regard, Foreign Minister Tangara describes China as a strong pillar of multilateralism in supporting global initiatives for sustainable peace, security, and development.
We discussed the three initiatives enunciated by President Xi Jinping, namely the Global Security Initiative, the Global Civilization Initiative, and the Global Development Initiative. And all these initiatives are in line with our conception of the world. When we talk about the Global Security Initiative, we all know that there is no development without peace and stability. That's a sine qua non for any development.
China's modernization goals for its people and the world, which featured comprehensively in the Landing Forum, has become a source of inspiration for many countries. Minister Tangara is inspired by China's modernization and its historic development milestones achieved in less than half a century.
There is a lot we can learn from China to leapfrog and avoid some of the mistakes they've committed. And I was also equally happy for them to reiterate the fact that there is no one size fits all when it comes to development. You have to recount your reality. In fact, when you study the history of China itself, during Chairman Mao's time with Marxism, the emphasis not put on the proletariat, but on the farmers, so the difference, because they adapted it to their reality. So it's important that we do not copy-paste. What you have here in China, you cannot just copy and paste it in Gambia. But it gives you the ability to be creative and innovative to deal with your own development needs.
During the bilateral meeting, China's Foreign Minister Qin Gang expressed appreciation for Gambia's support for the One China policy and recognized the mutual and strong cooperation in China-Gambia relations. Foreign Minister Qin Gang also gave reassurance of his country's strong commitment to supporting the Gambia at all levels, including on governance and socio-economic development. Mamadou Lamin Choi, QTV News, Shanghai.
We will now go for a commercial break, but when we return, we have more local, international, as well as sports news. Do stay tuned.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News with me, Ashma Oba. Now, delegation of 25 health experts from Global Health Outreach, a faith-based medical and dental intervention from the United States, is in the country to provide a week-long free eye and dental clinic services and other interventions to the public. Julden Jai reports.
This is the third time health experts from Global Health Outreach are visiting the Gambia to provide free health care to the public. The team is operating from the Glory Baptist Primary School in Josuang and comprises medical doctors and nurses. Hundreds are gathered here for the free service. Pastor Bitwell Mende, who facilitated the visit, says 4,500 patients were treated by the experts last year, and they are hoping the number will increase this year.
I feel it's to contribute my quota as a citizen medically. And if I have my own way, this program of GHO in Gambia here will be unabated, that is continuously. And even if it's not GHO, God may bring some people just to contribute and help the government in their endeavor medically.
Dr. Frank Mbarto is the team leader of the visiting team.
We anticipate not a whole lot different. The people's needs are the same. The team is the same, not so much the team members, but our hearts to love the people and serve the people is the same. So there's not going to be too much difference in what we do because we're here to serve and love the people through the means of medicine, dentistry, eyeglasses, therapy, and children's ministry. So it's more about us coming to serve the people in any way we can.
Dr. Mbarto said their priority is giving quality service delivery to the people. Naomi Prater, a dental hygienist, says it takes at least 30 minutes to get one's teeth cleaned.
I love it. It's a fun way to give back. It's something that I look forward to. I've looked forward to this for months, to be able to come and just serve.
Matthew Ashboyele is walking away a happy and satisfied patient.
Being here, taking care of my teeth is a wonderful thing. I thank the GHO, Global Health Organization, for coming to come and complement the health in the Gambia. They've done a wonderful thing, and I pray that it should continue for them to be coming, so that those of us that cannot have means of going to the hospital, to the private hospital, they can come to take free medical treatment. And it's wonderful, and I've done mine. You can see my teeth. It's as clean as everything. I thank God for everything.
Global Health Outreach is part of the Christian Medical Dental Association, the largest faith-based organization of doctors and dentists in the world with about 19,000 members. The initiative in the Gambia is facilitated through the relationship between the pastor of Calvary United Community Church, Reverend Bitwell Mendy, and partners. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
That story by Julden Jai will lead us to international news. The International Day of Multilateralism and Democracy for Peace and Diplomacy for Peace and The International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace is celebrated annually on the 24th of April to acknowledge the use of multilateral decision-making and diplomacy in achieving peaceful resolutions to conflict among nations. Alusise has more.
Unlike many international days set aside by the United Nations, the International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace is a relatively new observance which was first celebrated on April 24, 2019. In 2018, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the resolution that established the celebration of the day to promote global peace and an end to war, using diplomacy, international agreements, and multilateral mechanisms. It was first proposed by the delegation of the Republic of Azerbaijan to the UN. At the core of forming the United Nations in 1945, following the devastation of the Second World War, was the promotion and maintenance of international peace and security. However, this remains far from being achieved, considering several past and ongoing wars and conflicts around the world, notably the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war and the conflicts in Sudan and DR Congo, despite several mediations and calls for conflict parties to lay down their arms. As fighting in Sudan between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces continues into its second week, foreign countries started evacuating their diplomats and citizens last weekend. French President Emmanuel Macron confirmed that evacuations took place on Sunday and Monday, getting 388 French citizens and diplomats out of Sudan. The World Health Organization says more than 400 people have died, but the death toll is believed to be much higher, as some parts of the country cannot be accessed due to the insanity of the fighting. Multilateralism is a philosophy or approach to international relations that emphasizes the need for cooperation and coordination among multiple countries and international organizations to address global issues and achieve common goals. In today's globalized world, it is believed that no single country can solve complex global problems such as climate change and terrorism on its own. The Charter of the United Nations states that one of the UN purposes and principles is the commitment to settle disputes through peaceful means. According to many, preventive diplomacy is very important in supporting UN efforts to assist in the peaceful settlement of disputes. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Also in international news, as fighting continues in Sudan amidst truce to mark Eid al-Fitr, several countries are evacuating its citizens due to continuous tensions. Jennifer Sonko tells us more.
Sudan's army says it has agreed to a 3-day truce to enable the Sudanese people to celebrate the Muslim festival of Eid al-Fitr. However, heavy firing continued. The source of the firing was unclear. This conflict is prompted by two former allies who were part of the October 2021 military coup that stopped Sudan's transition to democracy. They are General Abdel Fattah Burhan, the commander of the armed forces, and General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, the head of the Rapid Support Forces Group, a paramilitary force. The World Health Organization estimates that at least 420 people have been killed and more than 3,700 injured so far in the fighting. The UN says that thousands have fled by road or on foot, but that millions are also sheltering in their homes without adequate food, water or electricity amid gunfire, explosions and looting. A growing list of countries have evacuated diplomats and citizens from Sudan's capital as fighting continues. More than 1,000 European Union citizens have been taken out of Sudan, according to an update from EU's foreign policy chief. 2 French planes carried around 200 people of multiple nationalities to Djibouti, and Italy's foreign ministry said it had extracted about 300 people in total. Ireland also said it was dispatching an emergency team to assist with collecting its citizens and their dependents. The US said on Sunday that they have airlifted around 100 people. Tensions in Sudan are greatly affecting neighboring countries as Sudanese flee to these countries for safety. The country director and representative for the UN World Food Programme in Chad says more support is needed from international donors as refugees pour in from neighboring Sudan. Other countries are soon likely to make similar appeals. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.
Let's now take a look at sports news. The Gambia has been drawn in Group F of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina following Friday's ceremony at the FIFA headquarters in Zurich. Our sports reporter Mamadou Gajaga was monitoring the draw and he now reports.
The Gambia's Group F opponents are France, South Korea and Honduras. It will be the second appearance for the young Scorpions at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup since their first appearance in 2007 in Canada, where they reached the last 16. 24 teams were slotted in 6 groups of 4 during the draw ceremony. In addition to the groups, FIFA also confirmed match schedules, venues and cities for the tournament, which kicks off on May 20th and played across 4 cities. The Gambia will play all their group games in the city of Mendoza and will open their campaign on May 20th against Honduras, face France 3 days later, before playing the Republic of Korea on May 28 in their final group game. The Gambia will head into the FIFA Under-20 World Cup fresh from an exceptional showing at the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, in finishing as runners-up to champion Senegal, the furthest the Scorpions had ever advanced in the competition. They secured qualification for the Under-20 World Cup for just the second time. Even though the FIFA Under-20 World Cup is a tournament made for players aged 20 years and below, Gambia can attest to the importance of this competition. A core of the team that played in the 2007 tournament in Canada ended up playing professional football for some European clubs. These include Ibrahima Sohna, Pa Modou Diagne, Mamadou Cissé, Tidiane Jaite, and Ousmane Diallo, who played for the Scorpions for over a decade. Pa Modou Diagne captained the Gambia to their maiden AFCON tournament in Cameroon in 2021, where they reached the quarterfinals. Diagne retired after the tournament. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
That's all we have for you in this news bulletin. Join us at 10 p.m. for more news. Thanks for watching.